The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost Here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hi, this is Richard Jacobs with Future Tech Podcast. I have three special guests on the line today with me, all from Ubitquity, UBITQUITY.io, Ubitquity. We have Adriana, Marina, Reznik, and Nathan Wosnav. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. Great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Do you mind if we just give like a 30-second sketch into each of your positions and backgrounds so we know who's on the line?
Absolutely.
Marina, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. By my day job, I'm a realtor. Been doing this for 10 years now, and I'm the real estate expert on the team. So I've been I've owned Bitcoin since 2014 and really got into the space when Nathan approached me to join Ubitquity as the real estate expert and dig into the non-financial use of blockchain technology, and, well, the rest is history.
Excellent. And what's your position at Ubitquity right now?
Just a key strategic partner. I shouldn't say just. Partner is the title.
The strategic partner.
One of.
Okay. And either Nathan or Marina next?
Or you mean Adriana? Adriana, do you want to go ahead and
Sure.
ladies
Sure.
first?
So currently I'm the VP of Marketing with Ubitquity. I'm also the newest member of Ubitquity. I joined in late August, and I've been a Bitcoin enthusiast and evangelist for the last 2 years. I was fortunate enough to be brought into the space by a coworker where I was previously working. I've been in business development most of my life. Came into the space because of a friend and just kind of went in like a rabbit hole, as Bitcoin usually happens that way. Kind of just fell in and became really excited, started gobbling up as much knowledge as I could, and became fascinated with it, not just because of the code and the tech behind it, but because of the humanitarian efforts. I decided to kind of dedicate my life to the marketing of it and making sure that people had the correct facts and were educated correctly, and became aware of Nathan's enrollment with Equibit and started following Ubitquity closely because of it. And earlier this year, Nathan and I started working together on other projects, and I became a member. And the rest is history.
Excellent. All right, and Nathan, go ahead. What's your position and what's your background, and then tell me about Ubitquity. What's the mission?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. Futurist, a pioneer with the cryptocurrencies. I started with Bitcoin and really in the beginning, November of 2009. My background was in telecommunications. I ran a voice over IP provider, and we were one of the first registered companies to take Bitcoin way back in 2009, 2010 for web hosting services and telephone services and things like that. I'm as Adriana mentioned, I'm a co-founder of Equibit Group. I'm a Futurist Advisory Board member, also part of Cryptor Trust, North American Advisory Board, and I've been sort of dabbling along with all of this. I started Ubitquity as a project called iNation back in 2015. It was basically just a bunch of projects to do non-financial applications on the blockchain. Pertaining to real estate, things like ID, passport backup services, and things like that. And so I started Ubitquity in 2015 with some colleagues because we decided that with some great advice from some of our team that we just needed to narrow down our focus, specifically on something. And so we chose property registration. It was one of the hardest things to actually choose. I've been told by Marina and other people in the real estate industry that attacking the real estate market with new technology is pretty difficult. People are pretty pragmatic in this industry and slow moving. Ubitquity, just going to give you a rundown, Ubitquity is a real estate platform for record keeping. So it basically offers a simple user experience for recording, storing, and tracking property records on a parallel platform called Ubitquity. So right now we're working with academia, some municipalities in Brazil, some stealth ones in the U.S., and some title companies. And we actually launched our private alpha version 1.2 about a month ago.
But what's the premise of Ubitquity in regards to real estate? What specifically are you guys hoping to make change in real estate or accomplish?
Marina, do you want to give it one shot since you're the realtor?
Absolutely. Well, we've developed the first working platform for blockchain secured real estate record keeping, and basically more for the title end of it, recording titles and any kind of record keeping in the real estate space. That's securing ownership, creating basically a digital asset, record of ownership, like a digital health record that is secured using the blockchain.
Is this going to be for the United States or other countries? Because I know in the U.S. we don't have too many problems with property rights, but I'm sure in many other countries, the government can come in and say, sorry, that's not your land anymore, it's mine. Which country focus is your project in?
Well, I'll correct you and say it seems like we don't have too many problems, but we do. It's just that we have systems for correcting them, but those systems are still, fairly antiquated. Obviously, we're ahead of the rest of the world, so that's saying a lot, but it's also, trust me, being in the day-to-day, in the trenches of it, it still has leaves a lot to be desired. It creates a lot of delays. It's very record and paper intensive and still kind of in the process of modernizing. So we're focusing on both. We're really focusing on the North American market, but real estate's very fragmented with probably close to 3,500 independent municipalities in the U.S. alone. But we're also working with the developing world and other countries. We have a pilot we're formulating with a municipality in Brazil. Really, anyone who approaches us that sees that we can create solutions to currently existing problems. We're not just trying to prevent government corruption. We're simply trying to clean things up. And I sometimes say trying to inject some penicillin into a sick system, and it's either sick because of either government corruption or a non-existing system which needs to be created, or just kind of backwards, old school ways of doing things. Just depends on the municipality and the country.
Well, as an example, I bought a house before, sold a house, and when I bought a house, I had to pay for a title insurance policy, and it was like $1,200, and the title company had to use what's called a title plant, and they had to look up and see who owned the house previously and what liens were on it, that kind of thing. And, I had to buy an insurance policy that they didn't miss anything. So I guess if blockchain can get rid of all that, or at least make it available within seconds instead of 3 days, that would be a huge improvement and reduce the errors that are out there, against any given property, title defects.
Yeah. We don't see title insurance disappearing, because title insurance is not just for anything that might have been missed. It's also for correcting things, going to court if necessary, and it covers all of that. But we do see reducing title insurance costs because of having things eventually be cleaner and more efficient and faster. And absolutely, if there are any problems that need to be cleaned up, it could take days, weeks, or who knows. Hopefully in the future, those things will be much faster. So not necessarily preventing errors, but being able to correct them faster. Because in the end, you're delaying closing, you're delaying people moving. There's families involved. Kids have to start school. You're dealing with actual people that you're affecting. So we're just trying to streamline and make things more cost effective.
So where do you think the biggest benefits are going to come? Maybe give me an example of what buying or selling a house looks like now, and then what will it look like under a blockchain-based system? Or if there's another use case that you guys think is going to be super helpful to the industry, what is it?
It's not going to look that different for the consumer. This is just the beginning, and what we're seeing is eventually the benefits will accrue. It'll be almost like a snowball effect. So over time, putting those records, having blockchain in the mix, so to speak, doing everything the way that the law prescribes now, but recording all the records and keeping all the records, adding them to the blockchain and basically creating that record will simply make things more efficient in the future and reduce title insurance costs, because in the future we will have had those records in a much more orderly and efficient way, so there'll be less risk. So insurance.
It'll also help with future title search time as well in terms of search. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll just make things faster. Searching,
verification processes. I think Marina is even talking about how, things are going to go faster when you're talking about a system that's so transparent. Suddenly you're looking at, maybe less fees for the consumer, maybe not right away, but in the future, once the technology really takes hold, you're talking about lower fees, getting the transactions done sooner, because at the end of the day, we're providing a platform for people to exchange value for value, and all of the, things that have to take place to verify that will suddenly be moving at a faster speed, and it'll go from taking months and months to buy a house to shorter and shorter wait times in the future.
And then other countries simply have,
having a system.
Well, having a system, yeah.
That's actually a good point you brought up. I should probably maybe get a bit into the deal with Brazil. Back in April, we were contacted by a representative of one of the real estate registry offices, a gentleman named Rafael. And this has been covered by, some of the news sites out there, and as well as the news sites in Brazil. And really they were looking for a way to replace their current vendor, because I guess they were having some issues, with their current vendor returning incorrect information as to who owns what piece of real estate and property. And so, we were tasked with running a pilot to really help bridge the land records and help it evolve in the future, with a parallel storage system that would kind of help make things a bit more transparent, and help them probably find where those choke points are, where the information is getting kind of changed or falsified or whatever it is that is happening. We don't know what that is, and we're not going to make any claims as to what might be happening, but it's been a successful pilot so far, and we're getting to a post-pilot stage now.
Okay, very good. What other facets of the industry you think it'll affect? What about MLS? The multiple listing service. It's very fragmented. If I'm a realtor in Atlanta, Georgia, I may have access to MLS there. What about in the whole country? Is this going to tie together that fragmented system, or is it really not going to affect that area of the business?
That's not our focus. Real estate is local. We're not trying to create a global MLS. I think that there's a lot of nuances that really, there is a reason for the fragmented system. There are issues in one area of the country, mineral rights, where, for example, or riparian rights or other things that are not, they don't exist in other areas of the country, and laws are different in each state and each county. So we're not really trying to address that area. We're trying to address the more important area of clear ownership, making sure the records of asset transfer are, systematic, clear, nothing's lost, nothing is misfiled, misindexed, all those things on the back end.
All right, so where are you at right now with, your rollout? What's it look like in the next 6 months or a year?
Great question. So, Adriana mentioned that she's one of the newer people in the team. We did also just hire a person named Anastasia Mislova, who's our client account manager. She actually has a background in MLSs as well. So she joined the team, and a gentleman named, and we've actually never announced this yet. We're going to be putting out a press release here in the next couple of days. A gentleman named John Dean Markunis. He's actually a principal consultant of a company called Power of Chain Consultancy, and he's joined our team as an advisor. And the title we're giving him is International Business Development Advisor. And he's going to help us expand into the Brazilian markets, into South America, because as we're getting into the post-pilot stage with our current deal in Brazil, we're going to be able to scale this platform out and really just hit the ground running with it. We've been working on some stealth deals in the U.S. We'll have some announcements, we hope, fairly soon. I can't make any guarantees as to what announcements we'll be able to make because so many of these are kind of in stealth mode. But we'll have a lot to say at the National Association of Realtors event that we're going to be on a panel for blockchain and real estate on November 3rd. So.
Okay, very good. Consumer facing, do you think there's going to be any change that people will experience in the next few years, or is it really just going to be on the provider side?
I think the consumer will benefit from the efficiencies in the back end, but I don't think that the consumer is going to somehow see a huge difference except for, benefiting from the efficiencies and possible cost savings, which is good because we don't, sometimes, sometimes the consumer is a little bit scared of, new technology, or maybe we don't want it to seem like it's some kind of, the latest fad, we're adopting the latest fad or anything like that.
Right.
Really, we want this to be the people in the back end, in the actual conveyance, in the back end of the transaction that help the conveyance aspect really see the benefits that more efficient, cleaned up record keeping will the benefits that'll provide. So basically, the consumer will simply benefit by having a more efficient transaction and a faster, smoother experience.
Okay. And who would be ideal customers for Ubitquity? What kind of companies?
No, I was going to say anybody really looking to transact value for value that involves the sharing of titles, the paperwork, the official paperwork that would need to go on the blockchain for security. I think that Ubitquity is in a really unique position because it does have the ability to perhaps breach the real estate walls in the future, and just look at value for value as a possibility. Because blockchain is so new and the technology is so new and everything's still coming about. We're in that unique position to offer multiple solutions for multiple problems when it comes to exchanging value. So it's exciting to see the industry growing. As the industry grows, it's going to bring in different kinds of customers and companies that are looking to apply our solutions to their problems. So much to add to that because she's the real estate expert and knows more about this, whereas I'm come from more of a marketing background and I'm thinking about the consumer and the outward facing standing of Ubitquity.
Yeah, we're really focusing right now on municipalities and title insurance companies, e-recording companies. Those players that are on the conveyance end and insuring the conveyance. So again, not so much the consumer at the moment. We're looking to deal with the actual where you record your record of ownership, who holds that paperwork, who insures that paperwork, and that conveyance happened legally, properly, all that stuff, which benefits the consumer, but is not necessarily direct consumer to consumer. It's our customers at this point are municipalities and title insurance companies for the most part.
Okay, all right, very good. And what's the best way to get in touch with you guys at Ubitquity?
At ubitquity.io, or you can leave us a voicemail. It's called 331-BITCOIN, but it's Bitcoin with a zero. We spent a lot of time on Google.
Any last words on where you see the real estate industry going and how it's interfacing with blockchain?
I think we're headed towards much more transparent future where you can rely on technology to get things done for you and tell you the truth versus having to double check everything. And as a company, I think we're really excited to be going into the end of the year with a lot of projects, but and also going into the new year with a lot of announcements and hopefully more success.
Additional layers of protection to property owners because of the streamlining and all the efficiencies that we're going to help bring into the process. All municipalities right now are trying to modernize, go digital, and why not fold in and incorporate the newest, most secure way of record keeping using the blockchain, or blockchain technology, I should say, since we're blockchain agnostic.
Yeah,
actually, that's one question I forgot to ask you is what blockchain is going to be the first to be used to anchor the data? Is it Bitcoin, Ethereum, which one, or is it a private one?
We're now, as Marina mentioned, we are blockchain agnostic, but we're using a technology called colored coins, the Kulu API at the moment, and with their system, with their platform, they actually allow us to use Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hyperledger, and multi-chain. But we always say we're blockchain agnostic, but by default we're using the Bitcoin blockchain for registration.
And there's already been a registered multiple property records that we have done using our platform and using the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay, so you just anchor when you need to record details about a property or a transaction onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Well, very good. Well, guys, thanks for being on the podcast. For listeners, it's Ubitquity.io or the other references they gave you, and I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you for having us.
The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com. You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.